What screams I have low self-esteem? What do you mean? Why are you asking? Has anyone said something about me? Is it because I gained weight? It's interesting how the answers in this thread are very polarized. Some insecure people turn outward and project confidence or meanness, while others turn inward and self-doubt apologize for their existence. Both are insecure, but they display in completely different ways. Somebody who apologizes frequently, even for things that aren't their fault. I've apologized to inanimate objects before. Someone who talks themselves down a lot, assuming that you're always on the cusp of annoying everyone you're with, or that you're never actually part of the group and only invited out of pity. Putting down others' hobbies because you are insecure about yours don't have any. Being excessively concerned with how others perceive you. Thinking that every time someone laughs it's because they're laughing at you or making fun of you. Thinking that everything bad someone tells you is true, but the second someone compliments you, you just can't seem to accept it. Constantly assuming other people are looking at you, judging you, making comments about you, etc. Believing that other people are overly fixated on you or your life, I think, is a huge sign that your self-esteem is low. Most other people, especially strangers, don't really go out of their way to obsess over a stranger. And if you're constantly trying to read malice into a random person's subtle actions, you probably are too concerned with how you're being perceived to the point of imagining negative attention where none exists. Never admitting not being knowledgeable of a topic. When someone fishes for compliments or constantly finds ways to get others to compliment you. People with a healthy level of self-esteem don't do this and don't have to seek out affirmation. Excessive apologizing. Trying to one-up in conversations. You think that's bad. Apologizing for talking. Apologizing for not talking. Apologizing for apologizing. Apologizing for being alive. Edit. Saying you wish you had someone's features. I'm pretty sure everyone's done it. But once you keep doing it I feel like it becomes a problem. Give me your eyes. I need them. Needing a lot of reassurance for basic things. In my last job the constant stress of the position, lack of support was causing me to question every element of my job. Even the simplest stuff. Getting angry when they're wrong. Clearly their brain is going through a lot of paces to convince themselves that they're smart, capable, what have you. When they're shown to be wrong about anything it's like a rug is pulled from them. Mind you, this isn't just mild annoyance. Constantly shit-talking other people. The cheapest way to gain self-worth is through juxtaposition. i.e. let me shit-talk someone else to make myself feel better. Unfortunately, these games are short-lived, so they need to keep shit-talking other people to keep feeling okay. Bonus points if the shit-talking is hypocritical. Watch out specifically for people who seem like they're looking for a reason to complain about other people. People who brag about themselves all the time. Lying about their lives. There is nothing more sad than catching a person lying about their life, finances, romantic relationships, etc. Just to get attention and validation. Not being able to speak looking at other people's face or eyes. Something I say by experience. You just start to think they may judge you. Or may notice that pimple. Or how bad you have your hair in that moment. Or your nose form. It's like if I don't see their faces they won't see my defects. I don't know if I explained myself well. This has the potential to be a controversial suggestion. But laughing at the end of every sentence. I didn't believe it at first, as it was something I did myself. And I truly believed that I was just doing it to be friendly. The more I looked into it though, the more apparent it became that I was nervous all the time. After some self-reflection I realized that it's fine to end a conversation simply and bluntly if I've got things to do. Before I would have hung around trying to make small talk and jokes. Constantly needing reassurance that your spouse loves you still. feeling super insecure in the relationship, even after being together through thick and thin for 30 years. Breaks my heart. In fairness, with the propensity of cheating and divorce, and having gone through it, you might need periodic reminders that your spouse still loves you. Looking at all the replies hoping they don't apply to you. My parrot. After years of training. A complete inability to admit wrongdoing. A person like that isn't super confident. Their ego is so fragile that they can't handle the possibility of having been in error. Always apologizing when there is no need to. Planning to live alone for the rest of your life because you think everyone hates you, but also thinking you won't be able to because you think you won't be good enough to get a job. Over clarifying. So, Saturday night. I guess it was really Sunday morning. The sun wasn't up or anything, but it was after midnight. People who grow up with lots of criticism and invalidation usually lack self-esteem. They often feel like they have to be super specific to avoid more criticism or accusations of lying. Being nervous when someone slightly disagrees with you. Constantly needing attention and validation from others. Being unable to be happy alone. Apologizing and clarifying every time you say something you think may possibly have been misinterpreted in a way which could maybe cause someone to feel offended. By all means correct yourself when you word something stupidly, but at some point you have to have confidence that reasonable people will understand what you're saying. This thread just confirmed what I already knew. That my self-esteem is so low it's underground. And everyone can tell. I should probably go to therapy. Edit. You all are so nice. Thanks for the encouragement and advice. The people that inflate their ego way out of proportion either are actually just egotistical. People who constantly gossip or talk shit about people behind their backs. I think there are very few answers in this thread that I am not guilty of sometimes. I guess I must have low self-esteem. I kinda hate how so many people here talk so negatively about people with low self-esteem, like the person actually wants to have low self-esteem. I suffer with it pretty badly, obviously, with this comment, and I'd love more than anything to not feel this way. It hinders everything in my life. When they write her off for the 10th time but still end up taking her back and making her dessert. RS credit. My reflection. Hey, I'm sorry to bother you at the start of every message. Hypersensitive, overreacting to any criticism. Insults and criticism aren't fun for anyone. And it's not a sign of poor self-esteem to not enjoy that. But the people who feel the need to go to extremes and get way too emotional in order to defend themselves over minor slights do so because their sense of themselves is very fragile. Reading a book or watching a film and thinking, I wish I was this character. They know how to do the whole living thing. Being unable to admit that you don't know. And refusing to ask for help because you see it as embarrassing. You stay at home all day and have little human contact. Like me. They can't stand to be alone sometime. People who constantly nitpick others. Letting other people deeply affect your choices and directions in life. Someone who makes a valid, well-constructed point in the conversation but ends it with something like, if that makes sense. I'm not sure, but yeah. Talking about alphas, betas, and how very alpha they are. Just cringe. No. Self-identifying as an alpha male. Talking shitty about others, especially if they are your colleagues and friends. Blaming other people for all your misfortunes. Apologizing for everything. Not listening to your gut. Insulting and pitying yourself. Arguing with strangers on the internet during hours. People who are always trying to one-up other people. People who have to assert their importance and eager for acceptance at the same time. Poor personal hygiene. It's a very common symptom of depression and low self-worth. Of course, it can come from extenuating life circumstances. but it's definitely a good reason to check in with someone. When someone always points out negative things or responds with a negative, especially when someone around them shares something positive. A friend of mine got his first car, a 1999 Honda Civic, and brought it over to a friend's house to show him. When he pulled up in the car, the friend said, "Why is it white? That's so stupid." Someone screaming, "I have low self-esteem." Having a loud ass truck that belches out black smoke 24/7. Constantly asking, "Is everything okay?" I am fairly tall for a girl, so every time a guy denies I am taller than him. Bad posture and looking down at the ground frequently. It doesn't matter your gender, but if you don't have the balls to say no. Caring about internet numbers. Blue hair. Deleting a comment from Reddit when it gets downvoted. I am such a ducking idiot. Labeling anyone with the slightest bit of constructive criticism or differing opinion a hater. I hate that word. They never ducking shut up about their sexuality, gender identity. Purple blue hair. Semicolon. Edit. Having more than one social media account and using it to like the posts on your other account. Mostly goes for people who use their business accounts to like pictures of themselves on their personal. Anytime I see it. New mayor of Yikes City gets elected. I would say when someone doesn't want you to see when they take off their shirt. Or when they take off their pants or underwear. I feel like people can play out the smaller things, but when it comes to their body a lot of people really try to hide it. Large. Usually loud. Trucks. I mean, if you need one for work on the farm or something. Cool. But if you think it's some sort of status symbol, it's almost certainly because you have a tiny DCK. Edit. I would have thought it was obvious that tiny DCK was a euphemism for low self-esteem, and not an actual measurement of a person's penis. Apparently not though, as I appear to have enraged some folks who seem to be very sensitive about the size of their DCK truck. The contrived, often filtered photos used by way too many women on dating apps. Blue dyed hair and prominent nasal piercings. Social media because it makes you feel like you look terrible. People laughing at an inside joke they weren't there for. Or a reference they don't get. Well, ducking, call me out, why don't ya? My friends grew up together. I want to be included, Lumfeo. When you wrote her off for the 10th time today and practiced all the things you would say. But as soon she came over, you lost your nerve. You took her back and made her dessert. Self-deprecating humor. Even if it's well executed. I can't help but feel that it's 100% real insecurities and ultimately it's a way to fake confidence. I think this is a 50/50. Sometimes I do make jokes at myself and it is an insecurity. Putting those fake balls on the backside of your truck. Who's what and why is he screaming? Excessive gatekeeping and orthodoxy about inconsequential bullshit. Attacking random Asian people. Instagram influencers that have made it their life's mission to empower others. I always think there's something a bit off about people whose stated motivation for social media posts and YouTube videos is to inspire others. You can't categorize yourself as inspirational. That's not how it works. That's something other people tell you. Making social justice a large and open part of their identity. Now there's nothing wrong with caring about social justice issues. And there is nothing wrong about being insecure. But those people who make those things a core part of their identity and go around condemning others for social transgressions? I've never met someone like that who actually likes themselves. They are often outwardly proud of being different. And loudly so. But in private, when no one else is watching, they don't like what they see in the mirror. And they feel powerless to change that. All the politics is just compensating. Not that the issues aren't valid. Or that their position is wrong. But the people getting legitimately mad about this stuff, they just need real, genuine empathy, not identity wars. I own almost every Genesis game. Posture. Wrapping arms around your middle as you stand. Bunched up shoulders. Things like that. Me. The gorilla-like behavior of young males in social situations. The overly loud talking. Loud jokes. Competitive remarks to people they hardly know. Bizarrely enough, on many YouTube channels this is presented as alpha, apart from the fact that this whole wolf pack alpha beta thing is completely bullshit and doesn't even represent the actual animals, let alone their human counterparts. If anything, alpha would be completely relaxed and would just do and wear and drink whatever they like, including Appletini, because they are relaxed and sure of themselves. Their nervous barking in bars and on parties is the complete opposite. Truck nuts. Redditors. I'm interested as to why this question is being asked. Usually people with low self-esteem have a history of trauma and or abuse. And instead of getting angry at these people and targeting them and treating them like shitty, it might be better to try and help them. Just a thought. Basing your whole personality around your favorite TV show, movie, book. I take pride in my personality. How? Name repetition. Personality mirroring and never breaking off a handshake. I'm always thinking one step ahead. Like a carpenter that makes stairs. Wearing a t-shirt to the water park pool. I was the chubby kid growing up that did that because I was so insecure about myself and my body. Alien looking. Overdone and extreme cosmetic surgeries procedures. Sneaking on your partner's phone when they're not around. Belittling women and the accomplishments of women on the internet. Name dropping and talking about money or stuff for some focus fixation. That and these stickers on the back of car windows, i.e. cheap ass tacky Christmas trees on wheels that proclaim people as humble. People who tell me they smoke weed or do drugs when I never asked and it's irrelevant to the discussion. The offspring. Bad listener. Always wearing a jacket. And being awkward as hell when talking to girls. Edit. I forgot to add. Not speaking to anyone unless are friends with them. Edit. Reddit as a whole. People who have to one-up you on everything. Whatever you say, they have done it more, or better, or more expensively. Whatever. Checking the answers in this thread to see if you have low self-esteem. I have low self-esteem. Colorful hair. Bad posture. Shoulders hunched forward and constantly looking at their feet. Push those shoulders back and look like you own the place. Walk into every place feeling like you belong there. I walk quite confidently. But inside I'm quite the opposite. Insecure people can often appear confident. Making self-deprecating jokes and expecting people to laugh.